We're live.
Welcome to another good episode of Two Smooth Operators.
How
The
come you
only
don't put your sunglasses
podcast
on no more?
about gate operator life.
Yeah,
Protect you. Your host, Michael Brooks and Robert Evers. Stay tuned for another great episode.
It's too smooth.
Two Smooth Operators.
It's so smooth. I have to do something.
It's Two Smooth Operators.
I guess I keep thinking it's too cold operators. So I always go to put on my hoodie and stuff like that. Maybe it's just too smooth operators.
Too smooth or too old operators.
Yeah, that's it. Too outdated operators.
That's for sure. We're outdated, ain't we?
The newest model that there is out there, baby. You can't get no better than me.
No, yeah, we're the newest models, really.
There's my glasses. I was looking for the good ones, not the old ones. So what's going on, man? I heard you just got back. You just got back from the road just like I did.
Yeah, well, we drove all the way to Charlotte yesterday with my band, the Pink Slips, and got set up, do a festival, and then started raining and lightning, and so we canceled, packed everything up, and came back home. But I got back home at 9 o'clock, so that was good. So at least it weren't like 4 a.m. in the morning, because it was a 2.5 hour drive for me.
What time would you? What time would you have quit playing?
We would have stopped playing at 9 o'clock, and then it would take an hour, 2 hours, hour and a half to pack up everything in the trailer. So, we got to get back home early, and I still got paid. We still get paid because the contract says when we show up, no matter what, we get paid.
Oh wow! So weather or parking or food or whatever they cancel, you still get paid.
Yeah, that's why when I got there, I had to set everything up because
no matter what,
if I didn't, we wouldn't have got paid.
Gotcha. So you got to be ready to perform just as quick as the start time is, or that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's some of the stuff we have in our contract with the music businesses. And then if you don't call us like 2 weeks in advance, you still had to pay us or pay half because we could have been booked somewhere else. Yeah. Yeah, that's some serious business, man. Even with DJing, you could do the same thing. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Back in my day, DJing was a little bit different. You would generally have to knock on some shady door. Be a couple mob guys back there and a couple of drug dealers be like, hey, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I just got off stage, man. Is there any way that I could get paid? Stacks of cash. I don't know if we got enough money to pay you. But
that's when I walk away.
I threw more parties. Well, luckily, the only times I had that, I was not a successful DJ. I was probably more successful at parties, throwing parties, than I was at DJ. And of course, we're talking about underground stuff, so not necessarily like your wedding DJs. Although I did do wedding DJ stuff as well too. But yeah, man, it was a little bit different scene than it was like, hey, here's the promoter. It's Johnny. You could go down and see him at his office. Time. This was more like, hey, this is Rooster. Hey, he's got you talk to him. He's got your cash. And then they pull out the cash, just a stack of hundreds out their pocket or little fanny pack or something like that. But anyway,
we've been working on a mini storage, and I got like 3/4 of the fence up and got the loops in the ground, got the motor mounted on the gate.
Preform or saw cut or
preform because they were doing some pavement, and I went out there and put the loops in the ground a little bit so when they pave over top of it, I won't get hurt.
Do you actually still put sealant on top of it?
No,
Or
no.
you just let them put the blacktop
I
on
put
top?
them in the rock. We took my jackhammer and jackhammered the
Oh,
rock, and then
gotcha.
dug it out a little bit with the trencher shovel, like 4 inches, threw the loop in, then packed the rock back on top of it, and then they just came over top and paved it.
So it was rock, and then you put the direct burial loop in there that's got
Yeah.
conduit. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
gotcha. What'd you
Sure did.
use?
Huh?
Well, who'd you use?
BD loops.
Hell yeah, baby. That's the only way to do
That's
it,
the
man.
only one. BD loops.
Well, I got a couple of gate calls I got to go on tomorrow. Got an automatic SL100. First of all, have you seen any of the new red boards with the bad screen or starting to go bad?
No, nothing. Only thing I've been doing new with LiftMaster has been the LA 400 and the LA 500. That's the only
On
thing
the
I've messed with in the past couple years.
automatics. On
Oh,
the
you talking about
SL100.
automatics?
Yeah.
Excuse me. I was thinking LiftMaster. Automatics. I've got the new board out there. Yeah, I haven't had no issues with the screen though.
No issues with the screen. That's just
Only issue I'm having though that's been having right frankly is batteries going dead.
I've never seen that before. Are those on red boards?
Both
On the old boards too?
both
Or on
the older ones that I put in last year and the new ones I put in this year, the batteries, there's something's going on. Either it's the bad batteries, because if I put a new battery in it, it seems like I don't have no problem with it. And then the last one I replaced, the two batteries were melded together.
So it's the factory batteries that you
The
see
factory battery.
Gotcha. I have not had that problem. But you know what? Maybe that's the cause of some other issues that I've got going on. Because as we know, bad batteries, sometimes in these gate operators, they can cause other issues. But I have a screen that's starting to go out on the side. And this is not the reason why I say every time I see somebody put a screen on their control board that didn't have it on there before, I'm just like, hold up, let's let them get out there for 3 or 4 years before I start want to install them. But anyways, I was at a gate operator the other day installing some mesh to get my spacing down to 2 inches. And it was heavy mesh. I mean, it was quite a bit. And I turned up the sensitivity a little bit, and I noticed that the screen was jacked up. But what sucked about it is it's jacked up in the part where it told you what was going on. So like where it said open ERD or close ERD, it was covering up those first 3 or 4 characters. So unless you knew exactly where you're at, it's kind of difficult to see. But that's the first time that I've had, pardon me, that's the first time that I've ever seen a screen start to go bad. I'd be curious if anybody else is out there listening in, whether they've seen a bad screen on one of those automatic boards. But now they're complaining about the other one that I put the mesh on, that it's not working at all. And I turned the sensitivity up or down, however you want to say it, basically to where it's got more force before it trips the sensor. I turned it up to like 85%. But I remember when they first came out, somebody was saying if you turn it up, it's more sensitive, and somebody said if you turn it down, it's more sensitive.
Well, it's what I do is test it out, get in front of it, push on it. If I'm not sure which way it is.
Well, that is the way that you do it. You turn it all the way up to 100% or turn it all the way down to 0%. Hopefully it'll show its ass before that. But I want to tell you one thing that you may want to try when you're testing that out, or maybe even talk to your team as far as how they're testing it out, which is
I need a team.
When you're pulling, or when you're testing the reverse sensitivity of a gate operator, you don't ever push on the gate. You always pull on the gate. And the reason being is if you're pushing on the gate and you trip and fall, the gate's coming towards you. Whereas if you're pulling on the gate, which you can actually you could get just as much force, if not more, because you get a little bit more leverage. If you're pulling on the gate and the gate doesn't stop and you fall over, the gate's not coming towards you. So just a simple, just a thought. But
that's a good safety tip by a pro, Michael Brooks.
Well, I'm more concerned about the technicians than I am the politicians. And I did the math the other day based on accidents that happens on construction sites. And granted, they happen, people falling down and all that stuff. But you figure if there's a few hundred people get hurt a year by gate operators and almost a couple 100,000 people get hurt on construction accidents, it's like 5,000 times % more that we're going to get hurt before the end user gets hurt. So I'm more concerned right now about the technician and training them. There's another little tip too that I tell people is anytime that you're moving the gate, whether it's a manual gate, an automatic gate that you have on manual, or an automatic gate that you're clicking the remote and you've got technicians around it, people around it, or you're just operating and you're not sure who's around it, always say moving the gate. So if I'm closing the gate, I click that button and say moving the gate. So you let people know. Now, you don't have very much wood where you're at, correct?
Nah, well, I don't mess with wood. There is wood fences, but I don't mess with wood fences.
What about vinyl?
I do. I got a vinyl job coming up. Yep.
So one of the reasons why I did that is because we were moving gates manually, open and close. And because we have so much wood in Texas, you can't see what's on the other side of the gate. And we would have people that would have their hands on it, and you would hear them on the other side, like, "Oh, okay." And then it's like, "Oh, sorry, were you sitting up against?" He's like, "Oh yeah, no big deal." But I got a dog trapped behind it one time. Now, saying moving the gate would not have told the dog that I'm moving the gate, but it would have told the owners that I'm moving the gate. And at that stage, I could go, "Hey, well, we said we were moving it, and." But that policy also changed another thing too. We no longer work in the backyard when there's dogs or kids in the backyard. It is no ifs, no ands. The dog doesn't bark. He doesn't move. He's a friendly dog. We no longer work where there's kids or dogs, or I guess we should probably change it to say animals, but we don't no longer do that because we're afraid we're going to hurt somebody. So we got good news coming up next week. We got Daniel Forte from Control Product Systems Group.
Daniel.
He's hopefully going to bring a couple of his manufacturers on that distribute through them. So we're excited about that.
Yes, please come on.
Yeah, he's coming on Sunday, the 11th. So we've been talking about a couple of things that we're going to go over. So they're one of the bigger guys out there, if not the biggest. And we're excited that he's kind enough to lend his time. We hit a couple records. I don't know if you saw this. This last month, April was our busiest month on the YouTube channel.
Cool.
We've also been doing home runs on Facebook as well too, which we're doing about 750 to 1,000 views a day with quite a bit of engagement.
All right, give ourselves a round of applause.
Hit it, baby. Hit it. 2 rounds of applause. God dang it.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah, baby. So that's pretty good news. We're about to, I think we'll hit 100,000 next week, or excuse me, next month. So we'll do pretty good.
Good. We're just plugging along. Now, this is the podcast for the gate operators, technicians out there, or the end user. And, just a place for you to come on and talk to us about gate operators. If you have any questions, y'all more than welcome to come on anytime we have a show, and comment on Facebook or however y'all see us in person. Just get up with us.
One thing that we don't seem to be shy about is actually putting our information out there. There's your phone number. There's my phone number. Any technicians out there that need help, all we really ask you to do is take a couple of pictures of the job site and make sure that you test that it has power. If the control board is doing anything special, send us that picture as well too. We can't always answer the phone, but we can at least tell you what's going on and when we can. So, and with all due respect, our time is worth several $100s an hour. So we're just wanting to make sure that you don't upset a customer, do something crazy or anything like that. Yeah. Billy Grove in the house. Billy,
what's
we need
up,
you on
Billy? I like your new his new cartoon character picture or something he had on Facebook.
Oh yeah, make sure you upload that in the comments on Facebook, Billy. Second thing is Billy, you need to come on. Shoot, even right now if you can. We were just about to talk about some training that was coming up that I got going on. I'd really like to hear about what you're doing in Florida. So Susan's in the house out there doing that yard work on a Sunday.
Hey y'all, you come do some yard work at my house, Susan, if you want to.
Well, the cool thing about it is you can come do yard work at my house, but it's all fake grass. They ain't doing no real grass out here.
I would love to have fake grass, man. Jeez. Which I don't cut grass no more. My son cuts the grass now, so. But
oh yeah,
yeah.
Once he turned 60, you were like, well, he can work this Kubota. I don't care.
Get on there. I got a snapper.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, we got a big 61-inch snapper.
Chris says, what's up? I don't have
what's up, my party.
Look at Billy, man. Come on. I don't have time tonight cooking, but Billy, what you got on the stove, man?
Yeah, man. What's he cooking up?
What you cooking up, man? Cooking up the rhymes, cooking up the times, baby.
He's cooking up some steak or something he caught today. He probably went fishing.
Is that what it is? He's out there on the coast somewhere.
Yeah, Billy likes to surf fish.
What is that? Surf fish? He jumps on a surfboard with the fish rod?
You just fish at the beach, or I don't know if he likes to pure fish or surf fish, but it's either one of them two.
Oh yeah. Well, Billy's doing it big time with training.
Parmesan.
So, chicken. All right, there you go.
Let's all go to Billy's house tonight.
Yeah. Hey, Billy, please upload your address for anybody that's in Florida. They can stop by. So you were in Charlotte, which is an hour away from you, and I was about 10 hours away from you up in Indiana last week.
Mm-hmm.
We had how to install a gate operator with the Fence University and Mr. Fence Academy, hosted by CMM and Nice High Security. He likes Spearfish.
Spearfish. I knew it was one of those.
Gotcha. So Nice High Security was at the training. These two young ladies right here, Yadira and Heather, they're part of the women of FWA.
Watch out.
They're the ones out there getting stuff done. But I was lucky enough to get on Sean King. That's Heather's husband, his boat. And we went out. I think we were in Kentucky. Out on some lake, but it was really cool. Sean's got a nice boat, and there was a nice pier where he's got it docked at, and we just went and had some dinner and had a good old time out there right the day before training last Sunday. So it was pretty fun. We had a good turnout at the training. This is the setup for those you can see.
Oh yeah.
So couple
That's
interesting.
Awesome.
Yeah, it looked pretty nice. Couple interesting things. I want to say that I'm not familiar with them, but I want to say that this was Digger Specialties aluminum gate, and it actually came as one gate, and Sean cut it in half. So some quick thinking, and he modified the rails that go on the end of the gate. You can kind of see me in the middle of the gate up there on his CMM machine, if I'm correct. And there's Sean down there on his knees with Brian Fredrickson in the middle and Jeremy from Nice High Security on the right with all the other attendees. It was nice to see the collective that we had, because we had men, women, we had business owners, we had technicians. So we had a whole group of people. For you guys that were in the class, look for an email tomorrow morning. We're going to be doing some follow-up online classes for that, because we went over stuff pretty quick. So
I was watching some of y'all's live videos and stuff, and when y'all first got there, y'all had to do some work before everybody showed up too, like get things ready, everything set up. And then I noticed that Sean was boring up under his driveway. Were you there for that process?
I was. Interesting process.
How was that?
I mean, at the stuff that we're doing, I don't know what the codes or regulations are. When you get at around 12 volts, I mean, there's really not much stuff that you have to be concerned with NEC. Although that changes regularly, and different authorities can adopt and change whatever they want. So what he ended up doing was using one of his post pounders to bore underneath the drive. And he did it. He tried something first. I couldn't remember what it was, but then he he was successful with, I think, 1.25 inch square tube heavy wall post. So he drove that all the way under there. There was no problem with it.
So how long did that take?
Oh, it was pretty quick. It took us it'd be interesting to know what impact that thing was that he was using. The post
was it a U.S. hammer? It was red, wasn't it?
I'll see if I can find that picture.
Well, maybe we can find out later. But I saw where he dug it out a little bit, because you got to dig it out 10 to 12 foot. And then he was jackhammering away, boom, 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 boom. And then it was moving. Like, I saw that square tubing, and he was driving in there. And then did he leave the tubing in there, or he pulled it out, or did he slide the pipe in it?
So the tubing, the square tubing was the conduit. So we didn't make
oh, that's cool. That's cool. It's even better.
Yeah, we didn't make the connection, like a connection to it. It was the whole thing was a learning experience, because you have Mr. King, who is used to doing things his way. Brian Fredrickson wants to do things a certain way, and I was going to do things a certain way. So it was a nice idea that all of us really got to get our points in, but it went pretty quick.
Yeah.
So and then
but you can take
what's that?
When you got that metal piece in there, did y'all run conduit up to it? Or did y'all use direct burial wire?
Right, both. So we did direct burial wire, I think, with the exception of the FWA wire. That was just some electrical wire that just came right off of Sean's truck. So that'll last, a good 10 years or so. So
I thought that was cool the way he was doing that, because I've bored under the driveways too before, and I'm telling you, it's not pleasant sometimes, because you just don't know what's under the road. Sometimes it'll look like it's that sand and there ain't nothing there, and then I go to do it, and I had the one that you use with the little beaver that bore under the road. I still got it.
How does that do?
It does good till you hit some stumps or some big roots, and you just can't go no further. And but now we try to avoid all that, and if I do, I just cut it with my concrete saw and pour concrete back if I have to, because I've gotten pretty good with smoothing out, finishing in the concrete. So kind of either way it goes, I do what we got to do. But now we got these operators where they're Bluetooth, so if it's too bad, I just get the Bluetooth operators.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet, but I put a link up here to board.com. This is the system that I use. It involves using 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch rigid conduit, and a little bit of water, and an angle like hole saw, like a whole hog. I think that's what Milwaukee calls it. It's basically a 90-degree hole saw that you can use when you're in between studs. So if you've got to run electrical wire in between 16-inch on center studs, all the handle is out here and the drilling part's up here, which makes perfect work when you got to do something upside down. You're going like this, drilling through there, and all the handle and stuff is above it.
Yeah.
So if anybody is interested, it looks like the kit that I have has gone up. Thank you, Tariffs. From I think I paid $299. It's $428.99 now. But take a look at that, because it looks like they've also got some new tools up there as well too. Because
I mean that was just pretty awesome seeing y'all did y'all have to set the post too, or?
Oh yeah, that's actually a good point. So Sean, actually we need to get him on here, because that was part of what I was wanting to get him to ask him was setting the post and the gates. Now, most of these fence guys, you see some of the brand name or some of the companies here on the screen. Most of these guys were, I mean, that was nothing for them. I mean, I was lucky enough in Dallas to have a business to where all I did is, hey, what's up, Jason? All I had to do was work on gate operators. We rarely set posts. I mean, I did some posts and stuff like that where we would do a drive-up pedestal, which Sean also did a no-dig system on that, where he drove the post and then just put the pedestal on top of it, which works just fine.
Is that what he did?
Yeah, for the oh, sorry, I guess I didn't make that clear. For the drive-up stand that we put our wireless keypad on.
Oh, you're talking about the gooseneck keypad stand?
Yeah. But for the hinge posts, they were 6-inch aluminum, and they were dry packed. So he dug the holes, put the whatchamacallit in the ground, the hinge post, and then put dry concrete in there.
Yeah, and then what I noticed, the one thing that I noticed about the gate, and I should have messaged you, was Jim Todd. He was there too.
Yeah, he was. I didn't even think about mentioning him for the training, but
we'll get to that.
Yeah, okay.
But the hinges, man, were awesome. Man, where can we get those hinges? Did you even ask about that?
You know, I need to ask. I need to ask what he where he got those. Sorry, I was trying to pull up on the screen.
Well, you know, that's the biggest problem we have right now in the industry of hanging gates like that, is using the right hinges. Some people don't want to use the hinges that are for gate operators. I mean, I like the way them hinges look. They look like they're pretty stout.
Well, he said, oh, here we go, Jason. He said, okay, they were supplied from Digger. All right, well, that's good. But he also said that there's some adjustment in there. So I am of the opinion that I'm going to have to start looking at aluminum gates and aluminum posts to install.
That's all I do.
Yeah, no, but you're a redneck, so I don't trust most of the stuff that
they're
you do.
They're better gates than steel because they're light and they're powder coated until they get hit. But
that's the only thing that I was going to say. When they get hit, they're done, right?
You can repair them if you got a good welder. Yeah, we repair them too.
You can weld aluminum?
No, I can't, but somebody else can.
Hey, man, I like that. Jason and his wife was there, and he had a couple of his team members stop by for the.
What's up, Jason? Training. Yeah, so, Jason, if you can get some information on them hinges, man, get it to us.
Yeah, he might just know just in general because that's what it was. But yeah, I mean, somebody can tell us.
I see you got some shirts up here. Fence companies here. You got Ideal Fence. What's that? JBR Fence. Mike.
Yeah, that's
Mike's
Yeah,
Fencing. What's that?
Mike's. Yep.
What's that? One on the top right.
Mattingly Fence. So it's
Mattingly
Granger
Fence.
Mattingly. Yeah,
So
I
what's
think
up, y'all?
man. Where are they from? I think they might be from Indianapolis as
Yeah.
well too. But yeah, Jason and his wife Larissa were there, and they're the guys who own the JBR Fencing.
JBR Fencing.
Getting it done where it's fun. It's 412 something something something, but you could see it on there. But yeah, him and his wife and actually his whole team were awesome.
Mm-hmm. That's
They just really were.
I met the guys from Ideal Fence when I was at the retreat. And matter of fact, one of his girls that work in the office was sitting next to me in the classroom. And if I had a question, I would ask her.
Was it his wife, Monica?
I don't know if this was a younger girl.
Well, yeah, Monica's young. She long black hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if his wife or not. I don't know. She
all
had
right.
kids.
So here's what they told me when they first met me at the Fence show, and that some people don't realize, and I probably won't be in that position this year. But when I was running the Fence show floor, the general rule was, hey, I need you to be stern, and I need you to be let's see, it was stern, and then I need you to be basically stern with us, because we were concerned with any expo or any time that you got people coming in and out with badges through the front. We need to make sure that, hey, they're there and they're supposed to be there, but we can also check them in so we know who's on the floor, if there's any safety or security issues with any event that you're having. So Monica and her husband came through, and I was like, hey man, you guys need badges on. They're with the Mr. Fence Academy and all that stuff. So this was the first time that I actually had time to talk to them and talk to them about their business. And Monica goes, no, actually her husband goes, yeah, when we first met you, Monica said you were a dick. And I was just like,
such a dick.
I'm sorry. That's what they were paying me to do. That's what I was volunteering to do, was to make sure
he took that job seriously.
Hey, you give me that radio and you give me a little bit of power and it just goes to my head, man.
But this is Dick.
Hey, this is Dick. I'm on the floor, just so y'all know. But no, at the end of the day, I wanted to make sure everybody was safe. There's always safety concerns when you're trying to get 2,000 people through the front door and so on. So I won't let Monica and those guys live that down. But thanks for confirming that I was holding up to the standard that I needed to be.
All right, so
there's old Brian Davis up there.
Brian Davis, what's up, man?
Looks like there's Jason's team. Bryce, Reagan, and Jason were there.
So
and Larissa.
Who's this? JBR Fencing?
Yeah, that's Jason's wife, Larissa. She was.
Hey, Larissa.
Hey, Jason, Larissa. Just you'll get an email tomorrow morning that has a link to it for the follow-up class. Since we went through some of the stuff really fast. We're going to have a class Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday. So you can go to all three, or you can go to just one of those, and we'll just review some of the stuff that we skipped over. So anyways, we had high security install is what we were putting in there. Have you put any of those in?
No, I have not. I've worked on them though, but I haven't installed any.
Man, I think they got their arm down pretty good. And I'll tell you that the secondary side, I like it. Here's a couple of things I like about their Titan arm, the 912 arm. The secondary side comes with the actuator cable already installed, and it's a good 50 foot long. It's got to be 30. It got to be 30 or 40 foot, maybe not.
So
50.
It has a 50 foot long lead, you're saying?
A 30 or 40 foot lead. Yeah.
Longer than usual.
Longer than what we needed. And we were
so it's already wired in. You ain't got to worry about it. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, that's really nice because like LA 400, right? LA 500.
Yeah,
Patriot,
you got it.
you gotta wire it in yourself, right?
Yeah, or they come with a little box,
Right.
and that's
So
easy.
now,
But you still have a connection though.
so now you have to splice the cable, you have to mount the box, you have to make the junction in the box, and then you have to spend the money on all the non-metallic liquid tight, the fittings, and then the time that it spends, which is the time that you spend, which is more important, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that it comes with that is cool. Second thing that I like is that the manual release handle on top, it's clear what it does. So it's not like on the Dorothy King 6006, maybe on the LA 500, and a couple models like that, where you put the key in and you have to twist it. This one's like a little bit more obvious, or just as obvious, depending on how you look at it. But it's really cool because it's a big handle. So you can look at it from a mile away and go, "Oh, that's why the arm is free floating."
That's
so
cool.
That's cool.
That's the important thing about actuator arms is having that manual release, because you can tear a gate up if it's one of them kind that where you flip a switch and then the motor's still in gear, but it's not has no power to it. But this right here, you flip it and you got it, the motor released, and you can push it freely, and it's not going to bend your aluminum gate or whatever type of gate you have when you're pulling it open.
The third thing that I wanted, or there's one more thing, but before I bring that up, that I'm glad you brought that up about the aluminum. So I noticed that on the post, what we did for the actuator support arm on the back is we bolted everything on.
Yeah.
And when we bolted it on that aluminum, I knew this was going to happen, but I it's not my job, not my install. So I wanted to see what would happen. Sure enough, as soon as you bolt those 4 bolts for the support arm on the back, so that's something you guys got to be concerned about if you're doing aluminum. Now, I don't know.
I put a steel post in. I don't put aluminum post in.
Gotcha. And do you dry pack them, or do you?
No, I don't dry pack. I mix the concrete. Gotcha.
So,
but it does the same thing, though. Don't get me wrong; it does the same thing.
Well, the fact that if dry packing works and I don't have to worry about water and stuff like that, then that may be something that I look into. But it could very well delay for when those posts are set, actually truly set. So, anyways, getting past that, you would, if you guys are going to bolt that together and you have access to it, and on the hinge post, I don't know how you would, but you could put a sleeve in there, and
or you bolt everything in, and you get them just tight. Get everything bolted in, get them tight. Don't over tight them. Pour concrete inside your posts.
There you go. So that's always an option too. You could drill your holes.
Takes time.
Yeah, that's the whole point. The point is trying to save time, and if maybe putting a steel hinge post in there to weld it. But they do make a bolt-on kit for it. I think it's part 466 or 446. So you don't have to make it yourself. Sean went to his shop and made it himself. So it went pretty quick. But you can put a plate on the back, or you can sleeve it.
Well, that's cool. And I look, when you're doing stuff like this, there's always cutting and welding. There's always some kind of modification you got to make. Have you ever noticed that doing work like that?
I mean, just for it to just be bolts on is rare, right? Everything just bolts on.
Well, a lot of things. Well, I don't really do a lot of welding no more, so I nearby do everything bolted on now.
And how do you? I mean, the whole point of a gate operator is that it moves open and close. I could understand putting a bolt on something that doesn't have vibration or movement to it. How do you prevent them from coming back 6 months later and the bolts all be loose?
Well, you put a lock nut on it, and you can put set screws.
But what do you do?
That's what I do. Is I bolt them up, and get them tight, get it right, get them right, get them tight, get them right, and then use lock nuts, or I'll use a self tapping screw on aluminum. you can use a self-tapping screw on the arm bracket.
Yeah.
If you put it in, if you got a big screw and you put it in there just right, you can put them on there. And I got them out there that hasn't come loose or nothing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we're not talking about heavy weight, and you're doing a lot of mag locks on your stuff, right?
Yeah.
So you
can't overdo the screw though. You can't strip, when you screw it in and you wring it out, it's over with. So then you got to use a bolt. And you just tighten them down. And then sometimes I would have to put washers in between the bolt and inside of the like a U channel to keep it from crushing.
So that's if I do that, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a sleeve, and if somebody doesn't understand what I'm talking about, just call me 214-931-2626. Take a sleeve, and it's in essence just a tad bit wider or deeper than the actual material that you're screwing through. You have to drill a little bit bigger hole. You have to make sure that it's aligned, and then you put that sleeve in there, and then when you bolt and tighten down your bolt, you're tightening it on the sleeve as opposed to the material that's just inside it. So I think that's what I would do.
Yeah, and I'll just put a flat washer and a lock washer and tighten it down good, and I don't have no issues with them.
Well, the board that we used was the 310 board, and it is a unique design. I can't say that it does exactly what it says it's going to do, but it doesn't have a maglock output, which concerns me because sometimes there's I don't know that I'm doing a maglock until after the install. So that's interesting. And then it has this dial system in there, which I can't say is very common in the access control world. So just by the design of it, it looks fine. I mean, you plug your power from your battery, you plug your solar panel in, and then you plug in all your other accessories. But it's got some unique stuff to it. The plug-in module for the receiver. It uses this thing called Blue Bus for the photo eyes, and I have to admit that I when Jeremy was out there doing his thing, getting it all dialed in, I wasn't there. So I don't know the exact part of the programming and stuff. But one thing I noticed on the photo eyes is that you had to run them in series. So that means your actual photo eye on your secondary side, you actually had to run it over to your primary side and then to the board. So that makes a whole nother wire run. And if that was just...
So did they put two photo eyes up? Two sets?
Yeah, it was a through beam.
A through beam? Oh.
Yeah, so you just
had to hook the through beam up. They didn't use Optech?
No.
Or it came with the photo eye?
It's a solar install, so I mean I would assume that these are low power, but they're new photo I haven't seen before. And the install was easy if you're prepped for it. But I don't think that the photo eye is just quite ready yet. So I don't know if anybody's used their photo eye, and I apologize for not having the model number ready, but it was something that they just sprung out the last minute.
Maybe we can reach out to that guy and get him on here and talk about this.
Now that is one thing that was super helpful, and I do have to apologize. I called high security tech support on Wednesday, the next day after training, after Jeremy had left, and tech support didn't get back to me right away. It was probably about 7 hours before they got back to me, and it's quite possible the only reason why they got back to me is because Jeremy called him. But when they called back, they called from a zip code and a number that I didn't call. So if I'm in the middle of class, I'm not going to recognize that phone number to pick it up. So here's a valuable lesson for people. If you're calling a customer and you anticipate them to call you back, call them from the phone number that you want them to call back, right? Don't call them from the office and say, hey, call me back on my cell, 214-931, whatever. All right. Always call back from the number that you called. It's like sales 101. But anyways, I called Jeremy and I told him, hey, they had got back to me. And then I went through all my voicemails, and they did from some weird zip code that I didn't have programmed in my phone. So little sales tip for all you guys and gals out there. So, so you haven't used this board before?
No, haven't used it yet. Nope, sure not. Nope.
Have you seen any other manufacturer with this dial system in the middle or any type of dial?
Is that like kind of like selecting for programming or something?
Yeah, it's selecting the pull it up here. It's like selecting learn motor 1, learn motor 2, force, close timer, leaf delay, run. So it's got a set of LEDs up here. It would seem to me that you could do that with a combination of these buttons as opposed to having a dial for there.
Now, maybe it's something like, does it have a screen on it or is it
no screen? Got those. Yeah, it's just got those two LED, 8-segment LED type things. So,
so no screen. So that's kind of like you're selecting going up and down type deal.
Right. So, but anyways, I just thought it was a unique design. What I was told was this design had some features scaled back in it to because the other gate operator controller that they were using, I think it's a 1050 or something, had too many features. So, but unfortunately, having a maglock output, you got to have it. And I don't think they have it on, or they don't have it on the ones that I've used.
Okay. So that one did not have
did not have
output from. How would you put a maglock on it if you wanted one?
Well, the way that I did it is I had to return them, or I had to buy a new board.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was out the cost of a new board. So that's that. But anyways, getting past this, if you know this going into it, and the board's cost effective and it's reliable, it don't matter. But I just had assumed, oh, and by the way, I should clarify that it has nothing to do with high security's fault. This is my fault. I just assumed that it would have a maglock output.
So did y'all put a maglock out there at Sean's place?
No, it was an aluminum gate. So if we had an aluminum gate, how would you do that?
You can bolt it on or use big self-tapping screws. You can bolt it on.
What maglock would you use?
Any maglock that they sell. It don't matter.
What maglock do you use? Man, you are cryptic today, buddy.
I don't. I use whatever's on sale.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
So you literally just bolt the whole thing on.
You can buy aluminum brackets that come with it. Yeah. And mount it on there, and bam, you're done.
Just to cut. What are you doing? Bolts or self tappers or what?
Bolts and self tappers.
Gotcha, man. You need to get some pictures of that stuff because we need to see that.
Yeah, I'll get some to you. But
famous last word.
Yeah, famous last word. I guess. Well, a lot of people wants to weld everything on or do some super duper stuff that's unnecessary, and
could be.
I look at what's necessary to be done and last a long time. If somebody comes over and drop kicks it and break it, well, that's fine. That's a service call. But somebody could take their bicycle and run into the gate and damage it, and so you can't weld aluminum unless you got aluminum welder. But then that's going to get your time in there welding up, so you can bolt the bracket on. I've even bought little bolts that go inside of the. I won't even use the screws that come with the maglock. I'll get some little bolts and bolt it all the way through, and they'll have a little nut. And I had to put 2 nuts on it, so it'll have another nut for backup just in case that little nut strips out.
Yeah,
it's sometimes you got to do it a different way every time you come up to a different job site. That's the thing about it. People, I think, have a hard time dealing with is having to do something different every time you pop up with one of these maglocks or hanging a gate.
Yeah, I would have to agree because that's how I am. I try to create the system to where it's just one style. I know at least when they go out there, they've got enough. They've got the tools that they need to do it. But to each his own. I think that's what that's just one style of doing it as opposed to another. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, what do you do if you have a wood post on the other side where your latch post is, or do you never really have that?
Well, I had a tree one time, so
You did a maglock to a tree?
yeah,
Oh
sure
my
did last summer. Yep, sure did. The
And,
man
and
said, I said, man, let me set a post here. He had the gate hanging on the tree and the
I think I remember that.
Mighty Mule gate operator hanging on the tree.
Was that before the fence crews?
This was last summer. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So no.
So this was before the fence show, I believe.
Oh,
Anyway,
gotcha.
I said, man, let me give that tree some relief and set a post on the other side. We're gonna put the operator on the other side and everything.
Yeah.
And he said, I still want to use that tree as a latch. It's a big old tree. I said, all right, we'll use it. So I took and had to make a bracket to mount on the tree so when the gate shut, it was level, you know. I mean, it was
Damn.
something. I didn't take pictures of it because I wasn't proud of it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't take pictures of it because everybody's going to talk crap about me. You know what I'm saying? Like I do
Shit, those are
sorry
the
work.
ones. Those are the ones I love taking pictures on. I
Yeah,
pissed that
but
fucking
you know,
Spider-Man off.
I took pictures of the old stuff that was there, but you know, that's what happens out here when you're trying to when you get good customers that's gonna pay you, you're gonna do whatever they tell you to do.
I guess if it's safe and it's reliable, there you go. So
I mean, the
yeah.
man paid me some good money to put his gate in. So
I wouldn't have any necessarily problem with I wouldn't have necessarily any problem with doing any of the stuff you have said that I wouldn't think to do right off the bat, as long as there's a caveat that if I gotta as the tree grows and moves, I'm gonna have to come out and adjust it, and you're gonna have to pay for it. So
yeah.
But anyway, so that's how the install went. I mean, you might be able to see a little bit more on this. We had to mount the control board housing twice. Solar panel wasn't in the ideal spot for me, but we used my acronym SOAPy, size, orientation, angle, and position, or you're screwed, to put it in the best we could. But it was only about 4 foot tall. You guys got to make sure that if you're doing these solar panels, you install the correct way, and you can use that acronym SOAPy to do it. So,
well, how do you think solar's going to work in his area? I saw it was cloudy a couple times out there.
I don't think it's going to be the best. However, if you continue to service it, the panel I'm talking about, and watch your battery to make sure there's no additional corrosion on the terminals. That's the best you can do in that application. So if you guys are doing any kind of solar, a film of dust on it, and he's not near a dusty road. I think everything's either paved or concrete for the most part around there, but he does have cattle or horses out back. Yeah, I got a little farm. So yeah, the thinnest layer of dust can affect that panel's efficiency by 10, 15, 20%, sometimes even more than that. And once you start affecting it that much, it's not that it still has power. It's that it doesn't have enough power to power the control board to tell it to charge.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, though. If he needs a service call, he's gonna have to call you and Brian to come out there and service the gate.
You think so?
Yeah.
All right, we'll see how that works.
Y'all got warranty?
Wasn't no warranty on that gate.
Come on.
But he's got a good gate operator on there. He's got a good gate. Yeah. Everything looks. I mean, I pulled on those posts. A couple other people pulled on those posts. I think
they're not going nowhere.
Going to be good to go. So battery was bought from a place called Royal King. It's like farm supplies. So I haven't seen that battery before, but the pricing and the style of the battery looked about right. So I don't necessarily know that that will be a factor at all. But you got to keep those solar panels in the right position because you're fighting. There's really only a few hours a day that you're having optimum sun angle position. So you have to really focus on making sure you maintain it and clean it. But anyways, this is some classes I got coming up next week. Hopefully you don't mind me promoting them, but
No, go ahead.
I've got some tickets left. You could just go to fenceuniversity.com, click on details, and it'll take you to this page where you can buy tickets. When are you coming to Las Vegas?
Hopefully soon, but man, I'm just trying to keep more organization going. I mean, it's my guy that was helping me manage my crew. He got diagnosed with stage 4 stomach and esophagus cancer, and it's going to be tough on him right now. And I doubt he'll ever will be back to work. So right now, I'm kind of on every job. Make sure everything's going smooth and training a younger guy to step up and lead a little bit. But I'm probably gonna have to start looking for somebody if I can't get them guys going in a good direction. But I got one of them about to graduate from college. He's gonna come work full time with me, so maybe things will start straightening it up. Because I'm having to be on every job to make sure it's going right. Because I'm doing them commercial jobs and stuff where I can't have no mistakes being made.
Yeah. Is he thinking about just using this as a stopgap till he figures his career out?
Yeah.
Does he like the business?
Because he knows he's not going to get a job when he graduates right off the bat.
Yeah.
And I told him if he works with me 2 years or at least 2 years, that would look better than going here, than going there, skipping around, because they're going to look at it and say, he was at work every day with this man here. Because I've actually helped people out to get other jobs where they got interviewed and they called me and asked how they were, how they worked. And I would tell them, yeah, they were good. And there's been a few people over the years I've done that for.
So this is some of the training that we got coming up. As usual, Door King does some of the best training that there is out there. But I forgot about never saw or forgot about their online things that they do Tuesdays and Thursdays or something like that, or every Tuesday or whatever. But anyways, there's Door King's website, and you could just go to doorking.com and then just click on the training. It's got their training schedule, but they got a brochure that's got all their stuff in there. So that's cool. Let's talk about this Rotary Gate Systems swinger, and then let's talk about some tariff stuff, which I am not qualified to do. But we're going to take a look
qualified.
at the
You buy stuff, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, that qualifies you.
There you go. All right. So let's watch this video real quick on the new Rotary Gate system.
So this cable going down here is just for demonstration.
Yeah, that's just because.
So this was the system that they had in just the back of their truck, and they had it on a pull-out rail so they could actually show people how it works. But there's the control board housing, and this was Senior out there talking about the new swinger design, but it still uses their old motor or the other motor.
Is this arm all aluminum?
Yeah.
This is aluminum too?
Yep.
What size arm does it come with?
Still working that out.
But it's the same motor with just a different attachment at the bottom?
Well, it'll have the same attachment. Shane 3D printed this little box here just so we could attach this cable to the demo, but it'll have the same half-inch nipple.
Is this 3D printed?
Yeah.
But it's normally metal?
Yeah, we've started 3D printing all of them now.
Oh, yeah. It makes sense. I mean, it's not really crucial. It'll still have the disengagement up there.
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello.
Sorry about that. Have you ever put one of the Rotary Gate System sliders in?
No, never.
I worked on a couple of them out here in Las Vegas. I mean, they're just as simple as any other gate operator, but the control boards are a little bit different because a lot of this is hardwired in it.
Right now, I'm working on a lot of auto gates.
How do you like those?
Well, it's a learning experience. I can tell you, they're not too bad. I got to put a gate on one of them where somebody drove through it, rammed the gate. So I got to go put a new gate on one of them. But they're
Gotcha.
not that bad. They're kind of easy to work on, really.
Electronics is exactly the same. The only real difference internally is the gearbox.
These were those sliders I worked out here on Las Vegas. Well, when I say I worked on them, I just gave my opinion on what some things I thought were issues.
On this is a 4-stage planetary.
Okay. The design of this motor that they have is, first of all, it's the same for the swinger and the slide. It actually comes out of a ball turret, I think, on a B-52 machine gunner ball turret.
Yeah.
93 to 1 on the slide to 1,594 to 1 on the swing.
The timer or the limits are set by time now.
No.
So that's the one thing that's a little bit different. No more magnetic limit switch. It's actually got mechanical limit switches. There's Junior and his wife Danielle.
They are mounted to this piece underneath this cap.
Yeah.
And then if you notice right here, there are 2 cams that can rotate to be adjusted. And they've got a magnet on them so that as it comes around, like the magnet for this one is right there. Yeah. It's pressed into this cam. And then,
but all you have to do is bolt that thing to the hinge post, and you put your control box wherever you want it.
so
Yeah.
if it's around, it will trip that switch.
Oh, so it's a reed switch in there. It's not mechanical. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I wanted to use mechanical limits.
There's Shane Jr. right there doing Gate Safety Summit at the Fence Show. There's old Brian Davis in the background.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, when the reed switch, you don't have to worry about weather. Right. Well, that's cool. Then everything on the Apex board is the same, and it works with all the EMX and all the major ones.
That business is a real family business that's got the mom, the dad, son, everybody else working in it.
Electronics relay on
But
Oh, yeah.
but anyways, enough about that. I just thought it was a cool, unique swinger, and I haven't talked about it in a while. But it's on the TwoSmoothOperators YouTube page. So if anybody wants to go check that out. So what did we come to talk about? Tariffs, right?
Tariffs.
So what were you telling me about was it LiftMaster?
Yeah, we were told that they're going up like 107% on some of their products, like the boards and stuff, and yeah, they're going up because of the tariffs. That's what we're getting. And then I was watching a few things on the news and on the internet about some of the stuff is going up 147%. So there's a lot of things that's about to go up. It's happening. It's going up. You're gonna have to pay more for your stuff that is not made here in the US of A, this great nation that we live in. And I'm ticked off about it.
Well, I gotta admit, the only research I've really done about tariffs is about 10 minutes before the podcast. So that's about as much as I know. Just a real quick question. Any good video resources on setting concrete pads for gate operators? Esteban, you might have asked that before some other time, but
you might be able to look up on FWA channel. They might have a good video on that.
Yeah. What did you see that video Mark Olson put out about the American Fence Association?
Oh yeah, I watched everyone he puts out. Yeah, that was very interesting.
Hey,
good luck with that.
Yadira from Women of FWA said hello. She's in Greece right now. I don't even know what time it is. But Yadira, if you're still watching, I put this video of you and Heather up there dancing earlier on the back of Sean's boat.
Oh yeah.
So Esteban, call me 214-931-2626 and let me know about what your concerns are, because I've got some diagrams that I might be able to help you out with. And then we could possibly hunt down some videos together. I can get on a Zoom call with you, and we could go over that. So tariffs are going crazy. And I don't know what to think, man. I mean, what do we do?
Well, there's not nothing more we could do about it other than we're going to pass it on to the consumer. And then that's when you're going to start having the consumers going, what? How much? What? And I don't care how good of a salesman you think you are. This is going to hurt. This is where if you're just started your business, you can possibly go out of business quickly. This is where if you've been in business for 30 years, you can go out of business quickly. So it's about the strong survives. That's what's going to survive out of this. And, and then all the stock that's in America right now, they're marking all that up before the tariffs. And so, so they're going to make their money. And then when we go to order stuff, they're going to go up 100%, then they're going to go up 125, then they're going to go up 150. It's going to constantly go up until this stuff starts evening out. And it may not never go back down, and it may not even out at all. So we don't know yet, but it's just started.
Well, it could quite possibly be that as people who are making these larger buying decisions, not just for like a refrigerator or for a car or something like that, but should we put this apartment complex in Las Vegas, Nevada? It's quite possible that people would go, well, hold on, let's just wait and see what happens, because it's not going to get any worse. And then the next thing you know, it may get worse, and then we start to come around to election time, which will be a year and a half from now. They'll probably start the cycle, and then it's just going to be all politics. It's going to be, if you like where this has gone over the last couple of years, vote for this guy, which will be JD Vance. And then
I'm going to tell you what, if they don't straighten out what's going on within a year, they screwed up, because the people that's going to do the voting with their pocketbook like they did this past year are going to be pissed.
Well, and that's what's crazy too, because it was all about perception, really. And I think that what happened with Biden at that one press that town hall or debate or whatever it was if they would have held the election that day, Trump would have won by 90%. Because he really had a bad set of memory lapse and a bad fault. But it was all about perception, because going up into the election, we had been continuing, the stock market had been continuing to set records day after day of record-breaking evaluations. The S&P 500 was doing that as well too. So I think it was really about perception, because I didn't notice anything different during Biden, and I'm definitely not a fan of his during him than I had the previous 4 years with Trump. I mean, it didn't. In my opinion, I didn't see gas prices go through the roof. I didn't see this or that. And even then, that's something that we really pass on to the consumer every day, is those when our gas prices go up, we just push it off to the consumer.
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of like, I hate seeing everything going up so high where working man can't, or a working woman can't afford to buy a home. Can't even afford to put a fence in their backyard. And so, and then the industries got sucked out of America over the last 40 years. And what the tariffs are supposed to start helping out doing is bringing manufacturers back to America, is one of the processes for that. So, who knows what's going to happen? But we have a freaking shortage in workers that are skilled and workers that would want to go work in a factory or something of that nature. So there's a skills gap that's got to be filled. Why do you think there's so much? We're into this training stuff so much because there's hardly anybody out there doing what we do and doing a good job of it. But on the tariff side, get back to that. I'm just disappointed that we're going to have to pay for this. That's what I'm disappointed about.
Well, I mean, did no one recognize that who voted for Trump recognized that one, he was going to do that because he said he was going to do it all the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then two, did not realize that these tariffs are real. We pay for the tariffs.
Yeah.
When if somebody is going to sell something to me for $1, and then all of a sudden the cost of that goes up to $2, for whatever reason, they don't go, oh, well, we used to only charge you $1, so we'll just stick at that price. No, they go, well, our cost is now $2. You're going to have to pay $2.50 for me to make any profit.
Mm-hmm.
And the concern would be, doesn't that actually affect my bottom line and how I budget and how my buying decisions are made personally and for my business? And if that's the case, then how does that not put our economy in turmoil? So I put this, I put the definition based on what Wikipedia says.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously there's political and other motivations behind these definitions that are on here.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just assume that this is for the most part right. Import tax is a duty imposed by a national government, customs territory, or supranational union on imports of good and is paid by the importer. So if the importer, the person selling the goods, their cost goes up, what do we tell you in every business class when your cost goes up? And there's different ways to price stuff all the time. But if your cost goes up, then your retail price goes up.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the other crucial part of that. Exceptionally, an export tax may be levied on exports of goods or raw materials and is paid by the exporter.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
What we've had going on since the Clinton administration and opening up trade with China is that China is importing all the raw goods to make these products that we want and then exporting it back to us. So if that's the case, isn't there a relationship there that we don't want? I mean, it's very simple. If everybody out there wants this to actually happen, which they don't, because they don't want to change their lifestyle, stop buying shit made in fucking other countries.
That's not going to happen.
How hard does this have to actually be? I mean, it doesn't make a goddamn bit of sense to me. You want to buy something that is.
I don't shop at Walmart. I do not shop at Walmart.
So for the longest time, I didn't shop at Walmart either up until I moved to Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And when you walk into a Walmart, you don't see any Chinese national citizens. You don't see any Venezuelan national citizens.
Mm-hmm.
You see all American workers trying to put food on their table. Now, Walmart's a whole different story because if I remember correctly, like a good percentage of their employees are actually getting government subsidies. And on top of that, I've also heard that they actually have programs inside Walmart showing people how to do that. So Walmart may be a different beast altogether. But
what I'm saying is that's the stuff being made in China. And the question right here that Brian, read that one to me.
It says, how is this affecting the price of operators manufactured in the U.S.?
I could tell you how. They're going to compare. If they know they can make an extra $1, they will try to do it. If they know if they know another guy's going to go up $150, I guarantee it, they'll match that price with their board within a few dollars.
what I have said before is this thing is going to be easy. They're not just going to take what the tariff costs and say, okay, it went from $1. I've got a tariff. Now it's $2, and we've always made $50 off this. So let's just go ahead and put the price at $250. It's not going to happen. And the other thing that I've said is that they are, after these tariffs go away, do you think they're going to start lowering their prices back to what they were?
No,
they're not.
No.
So if that's the case, how in the fuck do we ever think that it's a good idea to go to war with these other fucking countries that we need their support?
Because the Illuminati's setting us up, man.
It's Colonel Sanders,
Yeah,
the head of Dr. Pepper,
yeah.
and Donald Trump, who has formed this Illuminati. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's all about capitalism.
Well, this is the problem that I have with it is they're devaluing the dollar. So the more dollars cost, the more money dollar bills have to be printed or whatever. So if something's $100 next year, it's $250. Next year, it's $750. So that $200 product's now $750. So I got to have a 6-inch wallet to hold $750 bills, where I used to just have one $100 bill in it to buy something. And it's the same thing that's happened in the world several times over and over. History repeats itself. Come on. And now you're going to starve people. You're going to take jobs away in China on that part too. So there's a big ball of mess that we're about to start stirring up, and it's going to be big this time. There's going to be big consequences.
Well, yeah. And by the way, one of the things I want to admit is I'm not qualified to talk about any of this shit. What you have seen here on this podcast is the most research. I'm
qualified to talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. Because hey, this is our platform. We got the right to say what we want to say.
No, it has nothing to do with saying what we want to say. But
they ain't none of them right. Sure. Even the professionals, they're not right about nothing. Who is right about anything?
I just want to make sure that this is based on opinion and not fact. So that's why I was putting this stuff
up. It's a fact on my end that nobody knows what they're talking about.
Well, it's a fact that you used to buy a control board for $400, and then now it's going to be $650.
Yeah, I know.
And how that affects when you go to that apartment complex and tell them, oh, it's going to be $650. No apartment complex that's going to say, oh, well, we just have to leave our gates open for 6 months until the tariff goes down. Mm-hmm. What they're doing is they're paying the new price on the board. They're going to start shopping around more, which means now you have more competition, and they're going to raise the fucking rent in the apartment complex.
What's happened with me so far is that I'll give them my price and the price that it's been marked up, and they'll say, let me call you back. Oh, we got somebody else will do it. Then another day or two later, I get another call back. Can you come do it? So I get everything ready. Then the man calls back. Oh, I got somebody else coming do it. They said they'll do it today. Then I get another call. Hey, can you come back and do it? That's what you're going to start getting.
All right. So tell me how this actually helps us gate installers.
Or if you got people that are going to be pricing out and they were your customer, they're going to start second guessing you and shop around more, like what you just said. Might create more competition, but in hindsight, they're going to end up calling you back regardless. But this is affecting me. I'm a gate installer. They're going up on my pricing, and I hate that. It's pissing me off.
Well, here's the other thing is if it's going up for everybody and the customer is still willing to pay, I'm making more money. I mean, so wouldn't
you think you're making more money, but you're not. You're devaluing the dollar.
Well, I'm definitely not qualified for that. I was reading.
Yeah, that's what happened to Venezuelan.
Yeah,
when all that stuff going on, then that's what happened in Germany before World War II.
Yeah, well, with that in mind, this is an interesting graphic the trade deficit, and you'll notice that what it looked like during Reagan's time, what it looked like during Bush's time, Obama's, and what's his name's time. I think that was just up to Obama to 2015.
Yeah. Yeah, 2015
but anyways,
Obama.
At the end of the day, you guys may want to take a look at some of this, but I don't think you will. I think what will end up happening is we'll just end up we'll end up paying with our vote and just saying, well, this is what y'all done. So I think they only have a couple of years. Well, when I say a couple of years, maybe now only about 16 months to right the ship to where people aren't complaining about that. I got a video. It's about 4 or 5 minutes long about what Warren Buffett says about this here just recently. You want to watch it?
Yeah, let's watch it.
All right. So this is Warren Buffett on at his shareholders meeting. He also made a big announcement for you guys that follow Warren Buffett. I think he's probably one of the most ethical men out there that's playing at this level. I think the last time I looked, his stock is valued at one share is valued at over a couple 100,000. It may be at 300,000 per share right now. And he had his annual shareholder meeting for Berkshire Hathaway, and he announced he is definitely retiring at the end of the year, and he's turning it over. I thought he was turning it over to one of his sons prior to this, but it sounds like he's turning it over to one of the other management teams. So
yeah,
let's listen to this and see what
awesome.
That question comes from Bill Mitchell. I received more questions about this than any other question. He writes, Warren, in a 2003 Fortune article, you argued for import certificates to limit trade deficits and said these import certificates basically amount.
Hey, Robert, does that audio sound okay?
Sounds great.
All right.
To a tariff. But recently you called tariffs an act of economic war. Has your view on trade barriers changed, or do you see import certificates as somehow distinct from tariffs?
Yeah, well, the import certificates were distinct, but their goal was to balance imports against exports, and so that the trade deficit would not grow in an enormous way. In fact, it would have, and it had various other provisions in it to help third world countries at that time, as they were called, to perhaps catch up a little bit.
Lost sound.
And I think you can make some very good
Sorry about that.
arguments for the fact that balanced trade is good for the world, and the more balanced trade there is, the better. It will continue to be better for cocoa to be raised in Ghana and coffee in Colombia and a few things. And over time, the American industry has gone from being an agricultural country. This was nothing but an ag country. I mean, virtually, and that was only 250 years ago. And we have become a very industrial country, and we did not want to make that a situation, in my view, where we ran greater and greater deficits, building up greater and greater debts against the country. So I designed this import certificate thing, which Charlie thought was a little Rube, too much like Rube Goldberg. I don't know whether that name is, but it's gimmicky. But it's certainly a lot better than anything I think than we're talking about now. And there's no question that trade can be an act of war, and I think it's led to bad things. Just the attitudes it's brought out in the United States. I mean, we should be looking to trade with the rest of the world, and we should do what we do best, and they should do what they do best. And I don't think it That's what we did originally. I mean, we were good at producing tobacco and cotton 250 years ago, and we traded it. And we want a prosperous world with 8 countries with nuclear weapons, including a few that are what I would call quite unstable. I do not think it's a great idea to try and design a world where a few countries say, ha, 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 we've won, and other countries are envious. So my import certificate idea, which went no place, I think we've got extra copies, Rob. With not a great demand for the copies. If anybody did, and if you'd like, and write the office, I think we could probably send you a copy of it. But the main thing to do is not use trade should not be a weapon. And the United States, we've won. I mean, we have become an incredibly important country, starting from nothing. 250 years ago, there's nothing been anything like it. And it's a big mistake, in my view, when you have 7.5 billion people that don't like you very well, and you got 300 million that are crowing in some way about how well they've done. And I don't think it's right, and I don't think it's wise. I do think that the more prosperous the rest of the world becomes, it won't be at our expense. The more prosperous we'll become, and the safer we'll feel, and your children will feel someday. So that's. But don't expect my import certificate idea to go down there with Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations or anything.
So I thought that was interesting, the way that caught you, buddy. I thought it was interesting the way that he had said that, which is it could be used as an act of war. And,
it is war.
And when you do that, imagine, and we're not talking about like countries on the other side of the earth, just imagine Mexico, where you have people that are literally picking the food off the vine that they're going to eat that day, and what it cost to now get cooking oil, firewood, and all that stuff to their kitchen. And you want to talk about an act of war, start fucking with how people feed their family, and you'll really talk about an act of war.
Well, that's what this is going to start affecting. It's going to start affecting people in them countries where you're hearing on the news about where China is slowed down on manufacture. You're seeing stuff on the internet where the ports of California are slow and all that stuff. I don't know if it's true or not, but you're seeing all this in real time. And see, the way it used to be where I live at, the land that I live on now has been in my family for over 200 years. Been here before this was America. My family has been on this property that I'm on now, that I own. It used to be a tobacco farm. We had tobacco barns. My ancestors did, not me, but they grew tobacco and they took it to the sale and they made money off. They grew a garden where they ate out of the garden. And then they grew enough vegetables for them to live off for a whole year. So I was raised when I was younger to learn how to grow a garden and all that kind of stuff. So, and preserve food. So I know how to do that. So I'm not worried about it if anything happens. But other people don't know how to do this stuff. So, you got to prepare yourself for the worst. That's the kind of lifestyle I live. So where I live at, my family has been through everything from the beginning of this when the Queen gave land grants to the Declaration of Independence, through the Revolutionary War, through the Civil War, through the early 1900s, the World War I, World War II, my family's been right here. So I'm really not really worried about it that much for my inner survival, but the survival of other people, that what could happen with these tariffs is going to be dramatic, because you're talking about separation from the poor to the rich. It's definitely going to be even greater now. Now, I was sitting in a restaurant going to pick up some vinyl material in Edenton, North Carolina. And I went and ate at a restaurant right there by the water. And there was two women in there talking about they're scaring millionaires because of this. Millionaires are getting scared, not billionaires, but millionaires. I mean, ain't that crazy to hear that kind of talk?
I don't know, man. It just seems that so there's two different things. I have listened to these people over the last like 20 years say, well, if the world comes to an end, I've got food, I've got water, I got a generator, I collect fresh water, and I got an underground bunker. All right. You're talking about less than 0.00001.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Have that capability.
Mm-hmm.
So when this goes to shit, all we have to do is take a look at what happened with Katrina, what happened with Hurricane Andrew. When this goes to shit, and that was just one small part of the country, it's Armageddon. It doesn't matter. Whatever you have, you will not be able to protect it against 200 people coming after you, your home, and that. And then if you do kill all those 200 people, there's going to be 400 people to replace them and 800 people to replace them. So you are not building a fortification around yourself by collecting gold, by collecting food, by collecting water. That has a limited value when everything goes to hell. It has a tremendous value for a short period of time when small part of this goes to hell, such as a natural disaster, where you'll be able to sell a generator that you paid $399 for $10,000, right? But the flip side to that is it's a short period of time. Morally, how you would feel, you know, that's another thing. I would feel just fine if I bought something for $1,000 and sold it for $50,000 because somebody needed it during an emergency. But that whole Armageddon thing, and as far as millionaires and billionaires being concerned about what's going to happen, the quality of life that changes in their lives are going to be minute. As a matter of fact, it will only increase the wealth gap. Because once they see shit happen like that for a long period of time, it never gets burnt out of their memory of, oh shit, what if this happens again? Which means that they're going to collect more things that are valuable, such as the
assets.
The dollar assets, things of that nature that can't be affected or is less likely to be affected. I thought this was interesting. While we're talking about it, I'll leave this up here. This is the imports and export trade balance of our top 10 countries, and I never would have thought Vietnam was one of them. That's interesting. But
they've been on the news a lot about Vietnam. That I didn't know that either, but I read some things about that.
Here's what's interesting. Canada, I'm just generically rounding this up, triple what we export to China. Mexico, triple what we export to China. Canada, the exact same import that we get from China or close to it. Mexico, these are all, by the way, it says it right here. These are all billions in US dollars, by the way. And then Mexico more than China. We need to take a look at these countries that are our friends And I don't give a fuck what you say about Mexico. Mexico is one of our strongest allies, and the people and our societies with U.S. and Mexico are going to blend more than ever before. So we need to get this out of our head that Mexico is just a bunch of whatever Trump said, drug dealers. And
I don't believe that. No,
that's bullshit. If we stop buying drugs, Mexico will stop selling us drugs.
Yeah.
And that's all that it has. Is there tremendous corruption in Mexico? Is there a whole bunch of other bad things that happen in Mexico?
Look.
No more than
corruption is here in the States too. It's just as bad here as it is anywhere else in the world.
So let's get past that, right? And as far as I mean, there's almost it's almost tantamount to if it was said, just this statement alone was just listened to by itself, it's almost tantamount to discrimination or bigotry. I don't care what anybody says. Some of the Mexicans that I work with are the hardest working people. In their culture is family. In their culture is ingrained that mom and dad and grandma and brothers and sisters are tight knit. The communities are tight knit. I'm sure a lot of that has to do with their foundations and their religions and the culture. So let's get it the fuck out of our heads that Mexicans have anything to do with the day in and day out. Mexicans have anything to do with any economic strife that we have going on in our goddamn country.
Well, let me tell you something. The Mexicans, the Spanish speaking people, whatever you want to call them, they're people that's been coming from that area to come here to work. They come here to work, man. They work. And they stick together too.
That's it.
You know, I know of a business that's in Tennessee that got 4 crews, and them guys are putting it in, and they just now started putting gate operators and stuff in and doing a good job with that and getting good gate operator jobs, climbing the ladder. And I'm proud of them guys. I'm like, look, these other guys ain't wanting to do it. You look at where you got these other nationalities that are taking over convenience stores. Well, the regular American people didn't want to take it over. That's too much work. Well, the other guys, they take it over, and then their family gets a store, then another person in the family gets a store. Next thing you know, they got a big corporation making millions of dollars, and then they're able to get in other businesses like construction, then in the real estate and stuff. And then the people that went to regular high school, done regular stuff like a regular Americans do, and they go to Starbucks and go to their 9-to-5 job, they're going to be the ones that's going to be losing.
Well, as a culture and as a society, we have put down those positions for so freaking long.
Oh yeah, let me tell you about that too. I have been treated like shit sometimes with somebody that thinks they make more money than me or smarter than me. And that's one thing that'll get me going. If I pull up and I feel that you're not going to treat me right, I will not work for you.
Fair enough.
And I've been treated that way a couple times in my career, and where people look at a laborer with a man with a shovel or a woman with a shovel and think less of them. I'm like, why don't you get on the end of that shovel? I've been holding the shovel, post hole digger, sledgehammer for 25 years. You get on the end of that thing and see how it feels every day to work 8 hours, 10 hours a day in the heat and the cold, and you working every day. You get on the end of that thing and have 2 back surgeries. You do that. Dedicate yourself to a craft, because I don't want to be in that building and with all the political stuff that goes on at these other jobs and stuff. And I mean, you go through that. If it weren't for people like us, you wouldn't have your AC going. You wouldn't have your fence up. You wouldn't have electrician. You wouldn't have sewer, running water.
You wouldn't have your damn car.
No.
Right? Well, we have done such a great job. If anybody could get this to Mike Rowe, I would love for him to ever be on the podcast so he could help push his initiative.
What's up, Mike Rowe?
What's up, Mr. Rowe? Getting it down. Now, he is going all across this country based on his experience of these dirty jobs, his show Dirty Jobs, showing that the men and the women that are out there putting in gates. I love fucking putting in gates. I love doing this shit. I don't like digging post holes, and I'm going to try to stay away from that. But I love putting in gate operators, right? But we like this stuff, but we were denigrated that so-and-so that goes to college and gets a degree to be a lawyer, making $50,000 a year, not realizing in order to be a successful lawyer, to be a successful accountant, you have to either own your own business or you have to be the best salesman in that company. The multi-million-dollar lawyers and accountants and people in that type of profession, that's the guys who become partners. That's the guys who make the $1 million a year salaries, is those guys who are good salespeople, not just because they have a 4-year degree. What I was going to tell you is I was just in Panda Express. Panda Express right now is paying their store manager $62,000 a year. Now, it's been some time since I looked at the statistic, but $60,000 a year was the difference between, if you made any more money, you do not have a significant quality of change of life. But that is like the break even for you to actually have like enough money.
Just a little bit. That's not a lot of money either.
That's it, man. When I made as a technician, I made almost $70,000 a year and was going to get close to 6 figures the next year because I had a sales component to it. There's no reason why technicians can't be making $70,000 a year, but you have to come to work. You do have to be willing to work overtime, and you have to be available on nights and weekends. And not everybody can do that. But as a business owner in this, I mean, our service rates start at probably $200 an hour for most companies. I know some that are a little bit low, and depending upon your industry. And if you can keep your overhead low, and I know some companies aren't preaching this, but stay out of debt, you might be able to make some good money. But same thing, the guys who own those gate operator companies, you got to be good salespeople. Because nothing happens unless the market, no phones get rang unless the marketing happens of the business. I thought this was also interesting. This was something that was interesting as well, because a lot of people talk about oil and gas prices and stuff like that. So I don't know who this is. It's a government entity, so I don't know who EIA.gov is, but it was came up a couple of different times. United States imports about 8.5 million barrels per day. Listen to this. The United States exports about 10.15 million barrels of petroleum a day. We export more than we fucking import. So
why is that?
It directly has to do with political favors. That's all that it has to do. And I'm going to stick with this just very shortly because it's controversial. And it has to do with the religion you claim and the skin color you have. Now, I'm just saying that as my opinion based on the people that we attack and the people that we push down, and the people that we import oil from, because those same companies that allow us to import it to the United States, they don't allow everybody to import. So based on your religion, your political beliefs, you may not be able to import from countries that don't like those philosophies. So what we do is that we then take that and then we export it to those countries. It's just a bunch of bull. It's fucking ships passing in the middle of the night, costing the American consumer twice as much that they should actually pay. Please tell me how this lowers oil prices.
Well,
that we export more than we import.
It's there. Well, if we're exporting 200,000, 2 billion, how many would you say, billions or thousands?
Millions. So we're exporting 10.15 million barrels of petroleum every day. So
there's 2 million barrels a day that somebody's making a profit off of.
Well, we're making no. The profit is being made off of the speculators, the guys who say we're not paying for the oil that's in the gas tank at the gas station. We're paying on the 15, 16, 17, 20 different trades that it happened from when the oil gets out of the ground till it actually hits the gas station. All that shit is speculative, right?
Yeah.
So
Somebody's getting their pockets lined everywhere.
Well, we've seen it a little bit, but yeah, I mean, that's what we're doing. We're importing from people that are supposedly supporters of ours and that have enemies that they won't export to. So we end up exporting it to them. Think about that. That's energy independence. And if you look at some of these countries, they are our sworn enemy. Saudi Arabia, with all due respect, is the cause of so many problems that we have, religious, geopolitical problems that we have right now. We took over Iraq, so
we didn't take over Iraq.
We farmed it out.
We went over there, but we didn't I don't think it really did anything for us.
Well, let me ask you this: if you saw an Iraqi tank driving down your street right now, blowing up your neighbors, would that make you happy with Iraq or pissed off at Iraq?
I'm pissed off that we spent a lot of time over there and messed up our young kids and friends that went over there and have now brain trauma and have PTSD and stuff like that. That's what I'm pissed off about. You know, we sent our people over there for 20 some years and we were lied to in the beginning about everything. I'm pissed off about that.
Yeah.
That's why I don't support war. I don't want to be in a war. We've done enough. We went to Afghanistan and that was a shit show.
Understatement of the
and then went to all Iraq and lied to by the second Bush or his administration lied to us. I mean, come on. I don't support war at all. And I'm sorry things happen in them other countries. Things happen all the time. But if we ain't been doing some stuff that ain't been right either over there in them other countries. We're supposed to be liberators. We didn't liberate nothing. Who controls Afghanistan now? Al-Qaeda?
Do you feel safer or less safe now that we're out of Afghanistan?
We've been safe the whole time.
Exactly. There ain't no Iraqis putting their boots on the ground here.
Actually, we're not safer when we go over there because then we bring people over. Every time you fight a war, you bring refugees, you do all this, you misplace a lot of people. You know,
and are those people pro-American or anti-American?
We don't know. You know, most of them are. I think most of them are good, but I don't know. Who knows?
Well,
but it does, it changes the culture, and then it changes ideology as years go by. So,
yeah, I mean, if I saw, let's say that America was the most evil country in the world, and there was like Germans and Swiss and Irish, and they came over here and started fighting us. It doesn't matter right or wrong. You're on my sovereign land, right? And you're not going to do anything to fuck with that without having a consequence to that. And I just think that all of this blowback that we get from invading these other countries, it just breeds hate after hate after hate.
That's what I don't like about it is, you know, growing up and after you research and you research all this stuff, it opens your mind up to like, wow, I can't believe everything we were taught that we're liberators. Yeah, we were liberators in World War II, but everything after that, we're not. Korea, Vietnam.
We were blatantly attacked by Japanese, by the Japanese. And who's one of our biggest allies over there right now? It's Japanese.
Yeah, because we annihilated them.
Yeah, but here's the other thing is we came back and we asked them for help rebuild their country, right?
Yes,
which is exactly what we did with Germany. And that they become some of our strongest allies. But anyways, that political stuff gets boring after a while. But yeah, we need, as Americans, we need to make sure that, in my opinion, that we need to do everything that we can to stay out of debt individually. We need to do everything that we can to make sure that we are not relying on the federal government for anything. We need to make them as inconsequential as unimportant in our day-to-day business as we can. And it has nothing to do with the people that's up there. It has to do with the system. We are sending them billions of dollars a year just for them to send it back to us. I got to give you my money to tell you how education works in my state, and then I got to beg for it. It just doesn't. We need the federal government to worry about national security, and that's it.
Well,
and of course, that's a little bit of an overstatement.
Yeah,
I get.
it's tough to say that. I'm debt free right now, other than maybe a truck payment. So,
Yeah.
But and the business has a little bit, but it's not nothing that can't be paid. But people don't live debt free, man. People have credit cards, accounts everywhere, and have mortgages, and that's what makes you a slave. That's what takes away your freedom. Yeah. You're supposed to be able to have the house with the white picket fence and everything paid for in your golden years, and you just move on out. But that's not the fact, though.
No, it's going to be harder and harder for people to retire. Hopefully, there's some organizations out here.
There's a lot of people in their 70s and late 70s still working, and they could retire. They choose not to, but there's a lot of people that's older. They're still working, and they had successful businesses, and still, like my dad, still working.
I just don't. I mean, I enjoy this business so much. I know that I'm not the best teacher, but I work on it on a regular basis to find out how to keep attention.
You are the best teacher.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
If you're gonna deal with me, you're number one, baby.
There we go. Well,
Michael Brooks is the best teacher out there. Robert Evers says so. DJ Evers says so.
There you go.
He is number one in my book.
Can you send me a plaque for that, man? Just like we did.
Man, I'll send you a plaque. I'll make one up, since you number one gate operator technician teacher.
I think that
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row that people would say that I have the most passion and I care about the technicians the most. But teaching it's one of those tricky things. I mean, there are a few people that can get up there and talk for hours without going, hold on, let me get that. And that's one of the problems that
it's hard teaching this stuff. Not everybody's a good teacher, so you're actually doing a good job. That's why when I before I met you, I watched your YouTube videos and I was like, this is who I need to talk to. This is who I need to talk to about this and that. Yeah. And then kind of find out you didn't know nothing. And I was like, damn. No, I'm just joking.
I know what I know, and I definitely don't know everything, but I know how to get. I know how to get.
You know more about the details and how things work with the multimeter and stuff like that, and different levels of gate operator technicians. You got the entry level, then you got the second level of installing different types, commercial. Then you got the third level being a technician as a service technician. And then, and then you got your access control side and stuff. And, there's a lot to it. But everything that's going on in the world today, I like to talk about it every now and then, get it off my chest. So, and this is a good platform to do it on.
It's tough. It can be political. It can be religious. It can be race wise, sex wise, and so on. And I ain't trying to do any of that. All I want to do, I don't care.
Agree with. I don't believe they should be putting like when you go in and fill out a paper, it says white, Asian, Hispanic, black. I believe that it says other, and it might say Indian or something. Why even have that? Why? What's the purpose of that? That's racism right there.
I don't, just based on the experiences I have, I think that we need to continue to do that. And one of the reasons is the way that the problem, it's systemic, based on what I have seen in my life, that the systems are against certain people. So I'm sure some of that's for data collection and things of that nature, but because it would be nice to know, what's your native language? Spanish. Okay, now we have 50% of our population that speaks Spanish. We need to start putting more of our government documents actually in Spanish than we do in English.
But why would it say white?
Well, I understand. I'm just trying to make it a less sensitive topic by using the same example. So, but as far as race goes, the primary subcontractors that I had in Dallas were all African American, were all black guys, and I saw a systemic issue with being African American in the trades. And here's just my experience: is that Spanish speaking people, although regardless of where you're from, it doesn't matter. But if your native language was Spanish, you actually had a leg up in the construction industry than if you were non-Spanish speaking. So it doesn't have anything to do with color of skin. But most of the African Americans that I knew of, if not all that I can think of off the top of my head, weren't Spanish speaking. So immediately you actually get a leg up if you speak Spanish in the construction trades, even if you can't communicate with the superintendent or the general manager of the project. There will be somebody at that next level that's the communicator in between you and the person that speaks English, because obviously all of our plans and all that stuff primarily are in English. So I always felt that there was a discrepancy of the way that African Americans used to have a reliable trade, a reliable industry that they could go to and actually earn a good living regardless of education. And if this sounds too political or somebody thinks I'm trying to be racist, they can go fuck themselves. But I'm not trying to be. What I'm trying to say is that's the reason why we do it, is because systemically, I think there is an issue, and that's regardless of what I've seen in the law enforcement issues and my own personal experience. So that's the only reason why I say that some of that stuff is more important, or not more important, but still is important to that day. But that's based on my experience.
Yeah, well, it's a mess out there.
It's a mess. So all we can do is stick together.
Yep.
Because there ain't no.
I say you just treat people how you want to be treated, and be kind to one another, and that's all I can do.
From a spiritual standpoint, I think that's the best thing to do. And I'm not the best at it. Sometimes I could go off half cocked, and it's something I got to work on. But all we have to do as gate technicians and as tradespeople is stick together. And that's probably, I don't know about your personal reason for it, but that's probably why I always share my phone number. As like,
anybody can call me.
The information is worth what the phone call is paid.
Yeah, because that's the reason for the internet, is to reach out and communicate. Because see, I lost I grew up the old time way, and I lost all my old time friends. They're all dead and gone. And now, only friends I got is on the internet now, it seems like. You communicate with people in your industry. I watch different podcasts and stuff, and it's kind of like, the information I need to know, what's going on in their business, and what are they doing, what training is going on, how are they putting up fence, how fast is it going up. Unfortunately, just like in the gate business, we have no competition. And
unfortunately, we have no competition.
We have no competition yet. I'm pretty sure somebody's scheming something up somewhere, but
you're talking about a whole nother way of changing the business that knocks us out of it.
Well, not that, but
what do you see?
I'm talking about this podcast.
Oh, gotcha. I thought you
were TwoSmoothOperators, just like the struggle. We're trying to find people to do this work. It's just like, we're the only ones out here really talking about it. Besides, there's a few others that talk. Well, who else talks about gate operators?
Well, I'm sure that it comes up every once in a while, but fuck, man. With
I
all
don't
due
know. I don't
with
know,
all
but
due
one other, and that's SWI. They talk about gate operators on their
yeah,
channel.
yeah, Mark does, and he's definitely walked a fine line of over the line, and I think that video, that AFA video, was over the line.
I
But
don't. I think he needs to express his opinion, however he wants to. Because let me tell you why. He has a following, and he can do that.
no, yeah, I'm not against it, what he's saying.
Mm-mm.
Here's what my thought process was, and then, now when I say it's over the line, it's based on the knowledge that I have. From what I understand, the salaries of people and the budgets of AFA is not public information. If they are, then I'm
Mm.
completely wrong. So if you were on the inside and you're giving out information that was not public, then I'm concerned. But I don't know how to look at a 501c. I don't know how to look at a nonprofit's income, and maybe I should do that before I say it. But the other thing is I mean, I've been treated like shit by the American Fence Association.
Yeah, I know that. And that's what ticks me off, man. When I first started watching Mark, Sean, and then Brian a few years ago, and I went to my first fence show. I mean, I was so excited, and then I started seeing whenever Brian done the FWA, done his fence show, then I started seeing some division there. Not that anybody was talking about it, but I can see it plain as day, that the division that started happening with that, and that kind of pissed me off too. Why? Pull together, people. This is the internet. We're living in a different time where everything is going to start coming together. And if you don't come together, you're going to get left behind. Look at all the corporations that got left behind, that went out of business. The same thing will happen to you.
I have opinion. I have an opinion definitely about what's going to happen with the American Fence Association, but the way that I have been treated over the last few years, and it's almost like the gate stuff that I'm trying to correct now. There is no doubt you could go back and go and see where I was telling people that, hey, this doesn't meet ASTM F2200, knowing that the gate operator that I just put in that day, the installation doesn't meet ASTM F2200, because I was doing what the American Fence Association does regularly, which is I'm going to fucking do this, but I'm going to say this publicly. And why they haven't supported Brian, I have no fucking clue. I mean, look, Brian and I don't get along about a lot of shit. All right.
Yeah.
But the thing that he does is he routinely does shit that will hurt his fence business, but will help other people's fence businesses. And I've been accused of crimes. I've been publicly,
this is why I'm supporting you, brother. Well, this is why I'm supporting you, because I saw that happen, and then I reached out to you. Remember, that's when I started reaching out to you, and I was like, look, the way these people are talking to you, the hell with them, because I'm not putting up with that. And I ain't come out publicly yet and said it set tonight. I'm not putting up with that. And this is why we're going to have this platform. And if you're going to ridicule somebody that's in the industry, that's helping other people out in the industry, like me, and you're going to ridicule their frustrations they're having with the manufacturer that we buy from all the time. So, it's the internet. You can say what you want. You can express any way you want. And you're not doing it in a way where it's hurting them. It's just hurting the people that work there, that's wanting to get a feather in their hat. They just want the feathers. They're not owners like we are.
And that's the thing about it, is when they're talking about doing something good for the industry, when they talk about the industry, they're not talking about me and you. Me and you are a different industry. We're not the manufacturing industry. We're not the distribution. And until I start making gate operators years from now, I'm not concerned about what the manufacturer's doing. Till I own a distribution company years from now, I'm not worried about what the distribution companies are doing. If you were doing things that hurt my business, why is it bad? Why am I the bad guy for pointing that out. I'm only pointing out what you're doing. I'm not going out and saying, hey, you know what? We need to make sure Mike Reed never has a job in this industry ever again. You can figure that out for yourself. We need to make sure that Nick Wright never ever teaches a class again, knows more about pest control than he does access control. And this Catherine Mills, who's doing all these laws, lobbying, got paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to go out here and lobby against gate companies. You think that me pointing that out is making me the bad guy? How am I the bad guy for saying that this is the shit that's happening? You know, I remember going to my first fence tech. And I walked up to Ken Throckmorton. He looked me dead in the eye. I was just standing there waiting for somebody to help me at the counter. He looked me dead in the eye, literally for about 10 seconds, and then just turned around and walked away. Now, that's an experience that people regularly have, and that's why I was so happy with people actually told Mike Reed that last January at Tony Thornton's little safety summit, where some things were said that were pretty. That's one of the places I got physically threatened, where the two statements that are the best thing from the former executive director.
These guys don't know. They only know what they know. You know, they only know what their experience is, and that's great. That's fine. But what I'm getting out from Mark Olson is like, hey, there's things changing out there. They're putting up fence that you don't have to dig holes no more. Like idiots like me are still digging holes and setting concrete. They're driving posts in the ground. There's some of them that drive posts in the ground for gate operators. And, you know, we're just like, you know, don't throw your nose up at us, because look what's happened now. Now you got a whole different organization started. Now that organization is getting big and growing.
It's bigger than the AFA. They won't say that, but it's bigger than the AFA.
And look, you know, I'm supporting it.
Yeah.
I don't say nothing about the AFA. Ain't nobody from there reached out to come talk to us on the show.
The opposite. I was getting ready to do a post. That's what fucking sucks about this shit is I was getting ready to do a post. I've reached out to Catherine. I've called Nick directly on his phone. I asked Mike for inside access to Fence Tech, and to promote your shit for free. They ended up paying these podcasters tens of thousands of dollars to be exclusive to the AFA and not say anything about the FWA. How does that make them for the fence industry when they won't talk about the largest fence trade and the second largest fence show? Those are just based on public information that I have, and anybody can actually see that.
Well,
I just think that is bullshit. But I think that Mark's video brought up some good points. But at the end of the day, there were some things that directly I was just like, man, I got started. If you're sharing private information from an organization you used to be a part of, so if that's not the case, if their salaries are public,
he was basically, you know. It needed to be said. It needed to be put out there.
I don't know.
To me, it has to be. You have to get these guys straight. You have to get them. Somebody's got to do it. Who else is going to do it? There ain't nobody else that can do it.
Here's the thing: if all Mike Reed's job is, and the Cobras and Nick, I don't know anything about access control, right? All those guys, all their job is to make profit for a nonprofit. That's it. That's how nonprofits work. You cannot be in business if you are not making more than what you spend. So the question is are they making profit for the nonprofit? And if they are, they're doing their job. How can you call for somebody to get fired? So I'm not saying that it's not wrong or right to do that, but their job is not to be the fence installers champion, the gate installers champion.
The thing that I saw in some of the comments where they the ones that are on the boards or different chapters where they voted on people that they thought that was weak, or I read through a lot of comments. So where they voted for somebody they thought they shouldn't have that position, so it was just like a shoe-in vote, and they voted, and they said the reason why they voted for it because they didn't want to mess the organization up. They want to keep it rolling. See, that's the things that he's trying to peel out, getting them comments out. and stuff like that, getting things flowing, getting the conversation started. That's what it's all about. And
well, I mean, you might be right there.
To get the wheel started, to get them going in a direction where guys like me that was interested in joining AFA. Now I'm not. It ain't gonna happen till they straighten out, or they treat people a certain way and be nice to the other organization. If not, sorry.
Yeah. All I'm asking them to do is, if you're going to say that you support fence installers and gate installers, don't do things to hurt them.
Yeah,
and that's all I think you do. This is supposed to be, and their marketing is the opposite of what they're doing. Is where the frustration comes in. If you're going to say that you are for the fence installers, for the gate installers, then don't create laws that hurt them. And worse, when you tell parents that they're actually helping and they're only hurting. That's the biggest lie that I think they should spiritually be, morally and ethically, I think that they should be concerned about. Thinking that they're making, by attacking the installer, and they think that somehow by publicly coming out against me, and I'm the one that's on the ground. I'm the one that's in the schools. I'm the one that's going to people's houses. I'm the one that has to create a separate program for me and other fence guys to use called Gate Safety for Kids, public or a shameless plug, because they can't. They're not installers. How would they know how to tell a kid to act around a gate? They wouldn't. They never install one, so they don't know the traps that you could have just from. You can meet ASTM F2200 and create every UL law that you want, and it still doesn't necessarily mean that the people act or safely around gates. Much less, I'm concerned about the technician, not the politician, and they don't do anything. They've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars traveling up and down the state of Louisiana training fire department men and fire department women. The way that you make our community safer is you get firemen and firewomen on the back of fire trucks, not creating laws and the whole system now having to go hire people, train these people on how to do this checklist. That's not how you do it. So if AFA just put that money towards training technicians and keeping people in the gate industry, maybe it might be a better organization. But if they're not losing money, if they're doing what the board says that they're supposed to be doing, calling for somebody to be fired, as a member, I think that's completely fine. But I mean,
well, I'm one of them people that don't screw up. And if you screw up, somebody's there to whip you. And that's all there is to it. You screw up, you screw up.
Yeah, but
admit to it and move on and fix the problem.
The things that he were mentioning don't confirm whether he's screwing up. But the practice that they have, secretly lobbying for these laws that hurt gate technicians, then that's what's screwing up. But he didn't mention that. That's where I get attacked the most. That's where Nick Reich and Shelby Keelan attacked me publicly. But I would rather take that than physically be threatened like Mike Gullidge and Brian Boutte both did. That
just opens the can of worms. Now the can of worms has been opened and the lid is off, my friend. We're off to the races.
I guess that's the good thing is that he
did start silver.
Yeah, that's the good thing. You said it right. I mean, he's opening up this conversation so people can talk about it, and maybe people like me feel better about publicly saying this stuff as opposed to thinking that I'm going to hurt my friends or hurt organizations I'm volunteering for, as opposed to calling it for what it is. But I do not want anybody else to be treated like I've been treated. It is completely not fair for these large trade organizations to attack me just because I'm saying that I don't like you. I mean, so anyway.
That's not the first time they heard it. People's been calling them for years saying, I don't like the way you do this and I don't like the way you do that. They've been saying that way before we've been in this business.
Well, I mean, I've heard some things about the management company that they have to use, and that's probably something that needs to be made public as well too, but I'm not the person to do it. But what happened with the IDA Expo that was with them, and what happened to NOMA that was with them. I know some stuff with how the management people treated NOMA from good sources. And there were some scary things that they did there, but that's just insider information. And because I can't share that, you guys have to take that for what it is. It's just that it's not a fact. It's just what I've heard. And I'm not going to betray any sources that has told me those things, but you could just look to see if their behavior is correct or not. Hell, ask former board members, ask current board members. Why won't Mike Reed or Catherine, whatever her name is, or Shelby Keelan or Nick Reich? Why won't any of them come on the podcast? Why won't they actually pick up their phone? I think
have we invited them or anything like that?
Yes, I've actually asked Shelby Keelan. I've asked Nick Wright. I actually asked that Brian Boutte dude from Control Products. If you got something to say to me, why don't you come on the podcast and say it? We've asked a couple of our haters. We've asked Keith Parker, who's been nasty to people out there.
Yeah, he was nasty to me, and it was for no reason at all.
Because you're associated with me. That's why.
That's what I was saying. I didn't know. I was just commenting, and he went on a rant. Talk to me now, big boy.
Yeah, he went on my business page and put all these negative comments in addition to half a dozen.
Well, he should be sued for that.
Well, I mean, you tell me. I'm sure he's the champion of some people because in theory he had the guts to do it.
Well, he's a piece of work. I can tell you that. He's something else. Well,
I always want to go back to the fact that that's why I'm trying to make up for what I did, because I used to be that guy. For a small period of time when I got on these forums, I thought because the AFA was pushing this stuff, and I thought that it was going to make gates safer by pointing this stuff out, and it's not. You notice how the AFA doesn't enforce any of this stuff, right? Because the second that they did that, their membership would drop through the floor, right? That's why they make the fire department, because ain't nobody going to talk bad about a fireman or firewoman. All right. That's why they make the fire department enforce it. Right. So anyways, no, but having been treated like that, it has not made me feel good. But I always have to admit that for a small period of time, I was that guy, knowing that my spacing was fucked up on the gate operator that I did here this day, but pointing it out to other people. And that's the environment that the American Fence Association has created. It's you're doing something immoral if you do like I have done before, where somebody says, I'm scared if my gate's not closed and they don't have a photo eye. I write them up an invoice for $600, tell them that it's unsafe. You're doing it to set your own risk. But if you're telling me I'm going to tell some widow who just lost her husband, who feels scared as shit in South Dallas because her gate won't close and she doesn't have a photo eye, you think I'm shutting that gate? I got bigger authorities than the AFA and the ASTM and UL to answer for than them. So,
yeah, well, it is what it is, my friends.
The more that we stick together as installers, the more we'll get the distributors and the manufacturers together with us, and we'll make this industry, the installer industry, better.
And we want all manufacturers to be able to come on here and talk to us. And we're not going to be mean to you. We're not going to put you down. We're not going to complain. We would love to have y'all come on and talk with us. Anybody that wants to talk with us about gate operators and what they do, please come on and talk with us. This is a platform for the technicians to get on here and express what they're going through. And we had a few do it so far,
Yeah.
And
I mean, kudos to them. They deserve our respect by coming on open platform that they don't control, right?
Yeah. So I mean, it does get frustrating out there working, and things are going wrong, and you don't get a gate operator fix because you might not know everything about it. Because I went through that last week on hydraulic gate operator, and I couldn't get it fixed, so I had to go to somebody that knows how to fix it and get them to show me how to do it. So there's all kind of things that you go through, and this is what this is for.
That's
And
exactly what it's for. Because you and I have been there, right?
yeah, I'm still there. We're still there. We ain't no different than nobody else. We're no
I gotta go
better
figure
than
out this
nobody else.
automatic tomorrow, and I'm not getting paid to do it, right?
Yeah.
Would it is I'm gonna do it anyway, but is it okay to invite those people that we just talked about, like an open invitation right
Yeah,
now?
I would love to invite them and make the peace. I want to say, hey, there's no reason for this to be going on. I want the AFA, somebody representative with the AFA, to come on and talk with us and let me know what's going on in the organization and be real about it too, and
Honest, yeah.
accept the honest questions that I might answer and have a question about. And we're not here. We want to be a part of the AFA. I want to be a part of it.
We're to a certain extent, some of the stuff that I'm volunteering with, that I volunteer at, like the FWA. I work, by the way, full disclosure, I'm a contractor with the Fence University, which is owned by the same entity that does the AFA. But I only volunteer for the Fence Show. And I don't have a vested interest in the Fence Show. I don't have a vested interest in the Fence University and any of those programs that those organizers represent. Susan Worley is coming on. Brian Fredrickson has been on. They've invited us on their podcast. But yeah, this is an open invite. Oh, by the way, we have got Control Products next week. If anybody's
Control Products. Yeah. I love Control Products.
I probably have said this 1,000,000 times, maybe 1.5 million. But if you need RFID stuff, the Plano store is the one to call. Ask for Butch. I think Chris is retired, but ask for Butch, and they know their RFID. Butch knows his RFID stuff, but he's honest and a sweet guy. So we got them. So this is an open invitation, but it'll be live. And you can send us the questions that you want asked, and we'll send you the questions that you want asked. But this is going to be live. And if
there's no disrespect to nobody either, this is just being grown adults and just talking and being friends and talking a little bit.
Yeah.
This ain't about having any kind of what somebody did or posted or had something to say. We want to make the peace. We want things to be better than what it is, and we just want y'all to be part of our show because we're going to be growing. We're growing a little bit at a time, and you don't want to miss the wagon.
Yeah. Well, that's from the sales standpoint, but Robert, is also fair for me to take, and maybe this is something where I just have to grow up. When I was physically threatened in Louisiana, and I was physically threatened in Oklahoma by the representatives of AFA.
You should have reported them to the higher ups. Is what you should have done.
Is that gonna do anything? And then here's the
issue.
It's
just written stuff that's been written down, documented. That's what needs to be done. But it don't whether it does anything or not. It was done. So off of a stupid post on your personal Facebook page or something like that, and then they grow resentment against you and stuff. Then they act like you're stupid and belittle you a little bit, and that's what's wrong. And because that's not a fact, because you're not stupid, you're very smart. You're an engineer at this stuff. You design gate operators, not the operators, but you design how to install them, how to lay the loops out, how to do all this and that. And they're foolish. They're foolish.
Well, I think a lot of people have told me that nothing would have happened from what they said, and to a certain extent, they're true. And then
nothing would have happened, but it needs to be documented.
But the other thing is by saying something about it, I'm recognizing what they did and recognizing those people, where if I just let it go, then they have no more power. But I think the biggest part is, and no offense to friends that were there is that I didn't have anybody stand up for me. And the second thing is those guys have the hubris because of the power that the AFA has created to think that they can get away with that shit. That's the biggest thing, is when Shelby Keelan accuses me of shit, when Nick Wright says that I'm trolling the parents of dead children, they think that they can get away with that shit without any consequences. And
Well, they won't no more.
and
Guaranteed.
that's somehow supposed to get members toward them. I don't get it. So anyways,
Yeah.
long and the short of it is anybody who used to or does represent the AFA, we'd love for you to come on. I want to talk to you about the activity that you guys have been doing on Capitol Hill. I want to talk to you about what's going on in California. I would really like to know what you guys are saying and doing on our behalf. And then if Mark Olson wants to come on and talk to us about his opinion, and maybe I'm wrong on, if this information is public, I'm completely wrong. And then a couple other things that I think would be good points of conversations from Mark Olson's video. And maybe you're right. Maybe this just does open the conversation. But I was thinking where he was talking about the gate fence professional thing and how it doesn't mean anything to consumers.
It means nothing to consumers. Nothing. They don't know nothing about AFA. They can care less.
That's absolutely right. My contention is let's take a look at, have you ever heard the term realtor?
Realtor? Yeah, real estate. Yeah.
Real estate, right. So the real estate industry, which is really getting changed now that people can literally just buy homes with the click of a button, they have spent millions, tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions since the conception, protecting that word realtor, right? You can't use it in your advertising. You can't say that you're a realtor if you're not listed as a realtor. And they've spent all this money making that word mean something in an industry that touches everybody. We all need a place to live. Fencing is a pimple on an elephant's head. So if you think
fencing is considered a not so smart industry by other viewers in the world, not saying that it isn't, but fencing is the last man on the job, like the gate operator. That's the last person on the job site. And they're not thinking about, we're gonna put, if I could do it myself, put a fence up. But it's just very, very low end fruit is what I would say, as far as like versus other corporations and jobs.
They just don't. I mean, you're just not thinking about the fence guy as like that's the thing that you're like. You don't recognize certified fence professional. I mean, you're just not. But if somebody said, "Hey, I'm a realtor," they would. So there is no way. If American Fence Association, provided what Mark Olson says is right, their budget's $4 million a year. If they spent that every year for the next 100 years, they would still not get people to recognize a certified fence professional from somebody that's me, one chuck in a truck. It just ain't going to happen. Their marketing is horrible, and they're starting to see that in a number of different ways. But the way that they treat the installer is just as horrible. So to get people to put stock in that, even the people who are a certified fence professional, it's not going to happen. I mean, that it's clear. Mark made it clear that it doesn't mean shit to the consumer, so it doesn't mean shit to me.
Well, I've never been a part of it, and I've seen companies that had the AFA on it.
Yeah.
Come, and I've seen them win out. So I know a guy said, I was a part of that, and it helped me get a couple jobs. I mean, it helps them get a couple of them good industrial jobs every now and then. Yeah, I remember the FA, but it gives them a little stamp of approval. But I've seen them guys. This is what it does. It preys on the guy that just started out.
Oh yeah,
that's what it does.
There's a good book if anybody's interested in marketing and exactly what he says. I've had a couple private conversations with people from there about their promotional items and how they say that your $300 membership is going to save you $44,000 a year. Puke, not happening. But if anybody wants a good lesson in marketing, read The Purpose Driven Church by Rick Warren. And one of the things that they say, which Robert was keen to point out, was you find people at their weakest, right? And try to get them into your church from there.
Right.
And that's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to find people at their weakest, and their perception is that I need these people.
Yeah, that's why they don't want me in there. And the thing about it is, it's just like if you have a music shop, you're gonna have beginner equipment in there. You're gonna have a beginner guitars, beginner drum set, blah blah, because you're gonna sell more of those to beginners. And then you get a guy like me. There's nothing in Guitar Center I want except for cheap speakers. Sorry, I do want that, but there's no guitar that I want. So, you know, and what I see out of what Mark was saying is he's kind of like overgrown all that, where his company really doesn't need the AFA is what I kind of get out of it.
I think what he was saying is, if I put $10 in, I want $10.10 of value out, and he's not getting that.
Well, no, he ain't getting no value out of it because he has got a following on the internet that the value is what he has now in all the content he has, because they have none. I can't hear you.
I said, well, how could they? How could Mike Reed do any other content than what he's paid for? Right? I'm not asking Mike Reed.
It ain't just Mike Reed. It's everybody in the organization. They can't do nothing unless one of them farts or something.
Yeah. Well, but why would I ever ask Nick Wright to come on and talk about gate operators, right? How to install gate operators. He could probably talk about gate operators all day long. And from what I understand, that's what he does for $800 for a day, is he'll read a PowerPoint to you. But I haven't experienced that. But why there is the only way that they're getting on a podcast is when they pay people to do it. They're not, I'm not excited to have Catherine, whatever her name is, on a podcast. I mean, that doesn't excite me. Why would I talk about some guy that's never installed a gate operator or a fence come on and talk about that gate operator life? Because he's in the legislation part of it, which I'm not interested in. I'm not the code guy. I'm not the legislation guy or anything. I'm helping fencers install gates safer and be more profitable quicker. That's it. That's all I want to do. So why would I talk to any of those people? Pat, man,
up,
you
Pat?
got a couple comments. What's up, gentlemen? I finally got to see a Patriot operator you all talk about. That's damn right. If it's made in the USA in Louisville, Texas, it's got to be good. Point at the camera. All right. Yeah, it's got to be good. So he said he finally got to see it at the SAS boot camp in Tulsa. The last SAS boot camp I went to, I was told to take my LiftMaster shirt off. And
wow.
So, yeah. That wasn't the half of it. So anyways, good shout out to SAS. They got some good people there. But they got the politics.
Did they give you another shirt? That's the question.
Actually, no, they wanted me to be no. They did give me another shirt, and I wear it regularly. It's a Tulsa, it's a SAS shirt that says from Tulsa. So he has said, invite Nick Storms from US Automatic on. He seems like a good guy. He sure as hell is. I have a text that's going out to Nick Storms at 8:00 tomorrow morning. So he'll get this. So just to recap, anybody from any of the legislative end of AFA or the practical end of AFA, we would like to talk to you. I already told you the stuff that I want to know about. I think that at some point in time, you're going to have to respond to Mark Olson's video You could do that with him. I'm sure he's going to be a tad bit more politically correct. But yeah, I mean, I think that to a certain extent, some of these organizations failing or succeeding is the difference between a good and a bad thing, even for non-members.
Well, it just makes you mad that they're doing this, and I'm upset.
Yeah,
with that part, I'm upset with that part of the way you treated other people. People in your organization has treated Michael Brooks. That's what I'm upset about.
Well,
And,
I do want.
So, if
Go
y'all
ahead.
want to clean it up, let's clean it up, and let's do it. Let's be adults.
Yeah.
And y'all also can sponsor us too if you want to. I will accept some big money from y'all too.
Oh, I can be bought. Yeah, just the FYI, our show can be bought.
Yeah, we can be bought.
Yeah, without question.
But no, we just want to communicate. That's it. That's all we want to do. There's people out here that I have trained that's went to your course that I have to train and give them advice, and y'all are not giving it to them. So
yeah,
that's on y'all.
I was told by two separate people that I had no investment in or anything like that, that the first thing that Nick Reich says in that gate automation design school is, I haven't seen the test in 5 years. I don't know what you guys don't know. So let's just open this up to ask me questions. So he sets 50 people in a room at $800 a piece to do that. I don't necessarily know that that's the right thing for us other instructors to have to combat. You know, we're trying to help these guys install gate operators, not listen to PowerPoints for 8.5 hours.
Well,
so anyways, well, that's I think we just started a good conversation starter, and
if anybody's watching this late, that'd be cool. Is anybody watching?
There's 3 people watching.
Oh, good. Well, please spread the word.
Yeah, all it takes is one. But no, we'll put this out on next week, and we'll put it in segments, and we'll make sure that the AFA and those guys are attached to it, so we can get their feedback. And if you guys, Nick and Michael and Catherine, if y'all could answer your phones from somebody that's in the gate operator industry, I think that's the only polite thing to do.
Because we're going to take over the world, baby. Yeah. Welcome to another good episode of Two Smooth Operators. Another Two Smooth Gate Operators. The only podcast about gate operator life for technicians. Your hosts, Michael Brooks and Robert Evers. Stay tuned for another great episode.
All right. That's it, man. As always, good conversation, Robert. Let's go sell some gates. It's them Texas boys. What's your tagline?
Shit. I don't know. I'll come up with one later.
I don't know. All right. So my taglines are, it's them Texas boys, and now go sell some gates. This is Two Smooth Operators. The number one operator right here is Robert. It wouldn't that. Hey, I just want to make sure, Robert, that you're clear now that we're being all teary-eyed and all this stuff about stuff that's going on in the industry. This Two Smooth Operators would not have happened without you. I could never have done it. So, man, thank you very much. And
thank you.
Let's do this. All right, man. Thank you for everybody watching.